No, I'm just saying that I don't think this is the right forum to be discussing it.
Is there something wrong with his internet connection?
Try turning the video off. See if that
I
helps.
think you're on mute.
Do you think he's okay? Looks a bit like he's choking.
Well,
don't you
let's
think?
give him another minute, and then I'll have to move on. I've got back-to-backs all day.
No, seriously, guys, I think he's choking. We have to help him.
This film got me thinking so deeply in humans and the pandemic. It is a comedy, but the situation is 100% possible and the reactions are totally feasible as well. The title is so clever, and I like the different personalities of the people in the video conference, and even they just talking on top of each other without even paying attention to what the other was saying. It was just so on point, and it is as frustrating as it is showcased there.
I felt that the film Hard Stop was a funny parody about the remote work lifestyle and also a commentary on how high stakes the workplace can get to feel when in fact something very ordinary is either being discussed or occurring. And I think that each of the four characters who were on the Zoom call presented distinct perspectives of this very extreme, but potentially possible situation. And what made it so comedic was the idea that they really could not do very much, and also that they mostly were not willing to do very much and continued to be more focused on work than they were about someone potentially passing away in front of their eyes. And even as they sort of attempted to address the situation, their noticing or bringing up of other factors that were really not helpful or related continued to sort of drive home the comedy of the situation, like the one young woman pointing out the Manhattan skyline, for example. And I think overall the film did a great job of conveying the complete isolation that many of us have found ourselves working in as things have changed due to the pandemic. And so that felt very relatable as well.
You know, it's a funny situation because what would you do if there's a stranger on your Zoom who clearly needs help? You don't know what their name is, where they work, where they live. And so you're kind of helpless. I don't think that I would have reacted the same way that those people would have, but it was very funny to see all of the different knee-jerk reactions. And then, of course, the kind of antagonist, we'll call her, at the beginning, who really didn't care about this guy. I liked that it kind of all came full circle. I thought it was great. There was that moment of tension where the doorbell rang and they thought, oh my gosh, somebody finally here can help. And that didn't really pan out. But I thought it was really clever. I liked the acting and the performances in it.
COVID really does make so many creative ideas. Never would I have thought to have a film where someone chokes to death on a Zoom call and the folks on the Zoom call now have to deal with it. That was very creative. Very, very creative. And that was such an interesting film. Heartstop was such an interesting film to watch, just seeing them try to do anything but literally you're just the person on a screen on there and there's literally nothing you can do. And something about that was that tickled me. Very creative film.
Well, this is a fun movie, and it had a very effective and simple point that especially during the quarantine pandemic and all this, no matter how much technology we have, it still is not enough to solve basic human problems, I suppose. So Zoom and all that was a nice blessing, but then when somebody's choking to death and dying, Zoom doesn't help a whole lot. But yeah, no, it was funny. The performers all did a good job. It was really well written. The script was good. There was the satire of the workplace thing of who is this guy? His name says such and such user, blah blah blah. So it's all commentary on technology and commentary on quarantine, pandemic, and it was all very effective. There's a lot of things in here that we identify with. And now that we've seen it, we're all thinking, what if somebody started to die on a Zoom? I bet this probably happened somewhere. I'd be curious to know what they did.
Based in the COVID age, it deals with the man who is zoomed to death, or is at least being zoomed so much and being analyzed so much that the people involved don't realize that the poor fella has passed on. And as someone who has endured Zoom calls and all this during the COVID isolation, it strikes a chord. And the movie, which is the brainchild of Barrie-Seppings, pokes a little bit of fun at itself in the post-credits coda.
Definitely puts the sort of Zoom genre, if you will, of films into a new perspective, or at least puts a new spin on it. So for that reason, I thought it was absolutely delightful. But it's also really well written and performed. They do a great job at carrying us along. I mean, we're really just watching four people have a Zoom conversation, but it is actually thoroughly entertaining. And a lot of that hangs on the writing and the performances, of course. You can only do so much with the direction and changing the camera angles, but they even use that to great effect. The bit with the fake backdrop was really a nice touch to change things up.
The writing was well done in the film, with the typical banter we are all used to now during Zoom calls. It shows how impersonal Zoom can be. One character is completely callous about the mystery man, only worrying about her back-to-back meetings. It also reveals how we have become accustomed to Zooming with strangers all around the world. The high-resolution filming of the Zoom call was well done. I also appreciated the clever twist at the end, as it is the callous character who suffers the same fate.